Hello, this is Sheila Z. Sterling, and I'm going to do my best to answer a question that was asked of me, and it had to do with lowering blood sugar and the liver. So, it's actually a really good question because the liver has everything to do with blood sugar. Now, most people hear about blood sugar, the pancreas. The pancreas does this, and it's all about the pancreas. Well, guess what? Yes, the pancreas does hold the insulin and releases, excepting for the fact that the pancreas takes its assignments and takes its instructions from the liver. So when you have challenges in the liver, which can also be caused by challenges in your gut, that's another subject, but we're going to get into it a little bit. It obviously affects your pancreas and affects how the body is and what the body is doing with the insulin. So diabetes is basically what they call insulin resistance. Okay, and on all your cells, okay, you've got 100 trillion cells, okay? And there's a lot of cells that have what they call insulin receptors. Okay, they're little things that stick up off the cells, and when glucose comes into the body, they're attracted to these cells, and the cells kind of gobble up the glucose, take it out of the bloodstream and into the cell where it's processed. Now, the liver is the main filtration system for the body. So, people say, well, what can I do? I'll do a liver cleanse. Please, please, please don't do that. I'm somebody, in my personal opinion, I don't believe in liver cleanses. Why? Because when you take anything, I don't care if it's natural, if it's herbal, if it's liquid, if it's chemical, it doesn't matter. Anything that you take that's going to cause the liver to start dumping some of its toxins out, where do you think it's going to go? It goes back into the bloodstream, and you can become very, very ill, and you can damage the liver that way because it then refiltrates through the liver. So I'm not trying to sell my 8-week program. I'm just going to tell you it takes about 8 weeks. And it's not about cleansing the liver. It's about healing the liver. The liver is an extremely resilient organ. You can have 10% of the liver left, basically, and it would rejuvenate. So what happens is, if you can slowly, by what you're putting in your mouth, when you're putting it in your mouth, and it's not one thing, it's a lot of things. But within 2 to 3 weeks, people notice an astonishing difference, because once the liver starts to heal, it affects your insulin receptors, and the insulin receptors start working. So what happens is that naturally your blood sugar will come down. Okay, now there's a lot of things that can help, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. If your sugars, well, let me put it this way. Okay, I'm a blood microscopist, I'm a blood specialist and a diabetic specialist. I have a program called Diabetes Gone Naturally. I've got an 8-week program. So anyway, hopefully I'll leave a link. You can look into that more if you want. But right now, I really would just like to talk to you about this, okay? There are a number of things that we can see in the blood about 5 years before you're ever going to get diabetes. One is the buildup of fungus, okay? Candida, yeast. When the yeast starts to get too much in the blood, obviously it's not that you might not be eating too much sugar, but the thing is the body is transforming things into sugar. And that also will pick up different kinds of, the uptake will get greater, certain kinds of bacteria that start to show up in the blood. And how that shows itself is you start craving. There's that piece of bread on the table that all of a sudden looks really good. There's that glass of wine that you just one glass, right? Guess what? Those things turn directly into high-grade sugar, high-grade fuel for basically what's ailing you. So there's a lot of things. Chromium levels in the body start to fall. And there's only certain kinds of chromium that will help to supplement that. A lot of things happen. The body stops doing the proper thing with proteins, so you're not getting what you need to keep yourself balanced. And once things start to get a little out of balance, you start to get a little symptomatic. You might start getting bloated, you get tired in the afternoon, sometimes you just have to take a nap, or you wake up tired. I mean, there's a plethora of things that happen that most people just take as normal everyday things, but they're actually not. So one thing that you can do find out where your blood sugar is, obviously, and get an A1C, find out where your A1C is. That's really important. Get a blood test that shows your liver enzymes and make sure that you're in normal range there. But regardless, this is chromium with GTF. Okay, it's 200 milligrams. See my graph, see? It's solar ray, and you can buy it at Sprouts or Whole Foods or online. Now, when I'm showing these things to you, pay attention to the manufacturer, because not all are the same. So if you take one of these, just one of these in the morning, this will help to rebuild up the chromium. Now, if your sugar is already, high, you could take a second one in the afternoon, but one in the morning is usually enough. And of course, staying hydrated. There are certain things, if your sugar's high, you have a lot of inflammation in the body. Okay, that's just the body's mechanism. Okay, so in the afternoon or in the evening, you can make yourself a hot cup of water and get some of this. I'm just giving you some tools right now, okay? This is cinnamon bark. It's made by Young Living Oil. It has a white label, which means it's fine, edibles. Very, very strong. You don't ever want to get this near your face, near your eyes, or anything, or directly into your mouth. However, guess what cinnamon does? Cinnamon helps to dissolve the yeast in the body. Now, it's really, really important, because as we start starving the yeast a little bit, you're going to get some reactions. You're going to get stronger cravings. You've got to get through some of these things, okay? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it can be done. And if your meds, if your blood tests are starting to look a little abnormal, you might as well do it now, because it's not going to get better. So regardless if you're 20, 40, 60, it doesn't matter. Just start doing it. Now, we always say to have water with lemon, maybe warm water with organic lemon, and put a little bit of peel in there. Okay, there's a lot of flavonoids and things in the peel that really help. Why do we do that? Because when we do that in the morning, it wakes up the liver, and it causes the liver to start creating bile. Now, to that end, anything bitter, that's why arugula, organic arugula, is just wonderful, because it's a bitter. Now, you can buy Swedish bitters at the store at Whole Foods or Sprouts or something, and put it under your tongue. This is very bitter. Anything bitter is going to signal the liver to create new bile. Why do we want that? Well, we want that because it helps the liver to heal. So if you start out by taking the chromium, taking a hot drink at night, maybe have a little turmeric in it, because that's very anti-inflammatory. Ashwagandha will calm the mind and help you to sleep. There's so much. We're like a 5 million piece puzzle. There's a lot of pieces to it. So I'm just trying to make it seem a little bit simplified right now, because you have to start somewhere, right? And you start with that. Protein is a must. Maybe instead of having pancakes or a muffin or even toast in the morning, start with an egg or two. I don't believe in keto. That's another thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to go on the keto diet. It'll bring your sugar down." Yeah, it will bring your sugar down. But guess what? Keto stands for ketosis. And if your sugar is high, you are already having involvement with a lot of pressure on the kidneys. You don't want your kidneys in ketosis. Our bodies were made to run on glucose, and so we deal with the glucose. I can't tell you how successful it's been. I hope to send you a link of a whole bunch of people that came to me as the last resort. They didn't know what to do, even with full medications. Now, something to know about that. Your doctor, even if your sugar is only a little high, they're going to immediately want to put you on metformin or other drugs for this. Again, I have to say it's my personal opinion. Don't take the drugs. Metformin, they've been trying to get metformin off of the market for the last 20 years that I know about. It has really damaged, it damages the liver. It damages a lot of people. If your liver, if you're not supporting the liver and you're not doing things to start healing the liver, you're not going to get very far with taking care of the insulin challenge, the insulin resistance. So it's a symbiotic relationship, obviously. And be sure you stay hydrated. Sleep is really important. If you can get a Fitbit or something that you wear to see how much sleep you're getting, deep sleep, REM sleep, or light sleep, start keeping track. I mean, start using yourself as sort of like a science project, actually. And I have a book called Anatomy of Healing and Wellness. You can download it or get it on TrueLife-Solutions marketplace.com. It has everything you need. You can also, I'm happy to send you a report, foods that are good for the liver, because this is all about the functioning of the liver. You're not going to have functioning cells that have good, healthy, functioning insulin receptors if you're having a challenge in your liver. And a lot of this stems from the gut, and we'll go into that. But I just wanted to kind of get you started. And one of my favorite recipes, it's in my cookbook. If you take chopped up arugula, and I like something in it. Oh, and avocados are wonderful. Half an avocado a day. Put that in there. I chop it up pretty fine. And I like fruit. Sometimes, pear's okay to use. Stay away from the highly sweet fruits, but pear, I like it with watermelon. Watermelon isn't that great, for if you have digestive issues, but and then I usually put some kind of protein in there if it's a hard-boiled egg or nuts. Okay, not peanuts, not cashews. That's another thing. You need to not have another cashew at all. Okay, for the duration, but at least for the next 4 or 5 months. Don't eat any cashews. They're actually a bean. But, walnuts are good, and things like that. And I take a half of an organic lemon and squeeze it on top, and then I take at least a tablespoon, a lot of nice high-grade olive oil, and then some organic stevia, sprinkle it on top, and you toss it together, and it is delicious. And the more you eat of this simple salad, now you can put chicken on it, it depends on your blood type. You can slice grass-fed, a little bit of meat. But we want to take it easy and make it easy for our digestive system as well. So that's a good place to start. And switch out your bread to Ezekiel bread. I know a lot of people say, I just can't do that. Okay, a good sourdough bread, and only have 1 slice a day. Ezekiel bread, you can, because it's sprouted grain, and you could have 2 slices of that a day. So if you start there, if you're interested in going on the 8-week program, let me know. But that's a really good place to start. And it sounds like, well, gee, that's not enough. I want more information. Well, I'll give you more information, a lot more information. But for right now, we want to balance out the enzymic things that are happening in the gut, okay? And in the liver. 90% of your lymphatic system resides in your gut. We're not just a bunch of separate pieces. Everything is symbiotic. And when we take care of what's happening in the liver, regardless of what it is, everything can be healed in the liver. Liver as long as we don't start throwing a bunch of chemicals at it, that just remember, everything you put in your mouth goes through the liver as a filtration. So every time you have a drink, I don't care what it is, if it's a Coke or it's a glass of wine, all of the poisons that are in what you're putting in your body are going into the liver, and it's filtered out by the liver. So you're causing the liver to work harder and harder. So you need to take the next month to 2 months and really start eating to alleviate the pressure that you put on the liver. So that means no wine, no alcohol, no tobacco, just things like that. And not everything natural is always good for you. People go, well, I take 150 supplements a day. Well, be careful of that. Remember, all the fillers and all the supplements and everything goes through the liver. So vitamin D3 is very important. Vitamin D3 is actually a hormone, and it has a lot of regulatory aspects to it. Also, look at your thumbs. If you have ridges in your thumb, which is very common with diabetics or people that have insulin resistance, if you're starting to get ridges, that's a B1 deficiency. So and I don't have the bottle here, but I can get you a picture of it. You just, start taking a couple of those every single day, and you'll see the ridges will start going away. The ridges are just sort of a symptom, but that shows you that something is not working properly. So the very first thing is get yourself one of these, and selenium, actually. Selenium 200 at selenium isn't bad to take either. I'll put that up. But these are the most important. The GTF, if you don't have somebody that can get you a bottle of this oil, I think it's around $25 to $30. It'll last you a long time. Call me. I am a Young Living distributor. So, and I can get that for you. And don't use any other oils. Please don't use doTERRA. Okay, doTERRA is very famous. It's a brokered oil. It's not the same. So we have to be careful, just as careful as quality. Quality is like the number one key, because any kind of impurities that we're putting in our body, it's going through the liver. Drink a lot of really great water. Have lemon and water in the morning, and in the evening you want to have cinnamon. You've got to start knocking this stuff down. And if you just start there, you're probably going to see some difference, but it goes a lot deeper than that, and I'm happy to go a lot deeper into that. So we'll talk soon. This was just a little talk about the liver and blood sugar, and yes, they're entwined. What happens with the liver is a really good indication of what happens with the receptors on your cells. So, okay. Again, my website, my new website is TrueLife-Solutions, plural, marketplace.com. And there's a lot of information up there. And I'm happy to get whatever information you need. I'm happy to tell you more about the program, which has been 100% successful for those who do it. And it's very comprehensive. There's just delicious things to eat all the time. You're never hungry. And it works, It takes 8 weeks, but it'll change your life. And if you're teetering on, different things happening, you got a blood test that came back, wasn't so great. Yeah. Yes. Just keep talking to your body. Every day you tell your body, every day we're getting better. Thank you. I'm so grateful. You're working absolutely wonderful. Be kind to your body, and remove all fear. What fear does to your cells is just incredible. It actually can shows up on my machine. So that's another thing. When you get a bad or not a great report, the first thing is like, oh my God, you know, you're kind of like, don't do that. No, it's just the body saying, hey, you, we want to remind you, pay attention to us now because we need a little tweaking and then we'll get right back on track. Okay? It can be done. I'm sitting here. I'm part of it. I've had unbelievable things happen to me, and I'm sitting here in perfect health. And the whole goal is staying 30 until we're 90 in perfect health. We can do it. You can do it. And yeah, you can start today. Okay? Signing off.